I'm going to go over a couple of things here, just some features that you may be aware of, some you may not be aware of. A lot of you aren't Hummingbird users, we know that. Some of you are. We're going to try and teach you something new, or maybe teach you something a little bit more in depth for something you already use today. So I'm going to touch on the first feature is property maps. They're a great tool to visualize the overall health of your property and help you perform your daily management tasks. So our friends at Store Local Lexington were kind enough to allow us to use their Hummingbird instance to show this. So if I go and look at my spaces list here, obviously this is just the basic report showing all the spaces on my property. I can go over to the map. It's going to load up here. So you can see how, for this, they have built out all of the spaces in their store. It's color-coded, so you can get a good overview and see what's going on. Gray is offline, blue is available, green is leased. So you can get a good feel for what's rented, what's not. You can see red is overlocked. This is an interactive map. So you can see as I move my mouse around, it's actually showing me a little bit of information. This is unit 5020, 10 by 15, set rate's 159. This is currently leased. Green is available. When I click on this is where I can go and get all of the information that I would be able to get on any of the other interactive reports that we've showed and we're going to show. I can go and look at the full tenant profile. We saw some of this in what Sneha was showing. I can do all these actions, all the actions that I want to do if I want to move this person out, if I want to take a payment. I can do all that directly from the property map.
Can I see the features and amenities for that space?
There we go. So it's a roll-up door, and the additional amenities, we've got category standard there.
Yeah,
and Karan is shown on the iPad over here, the exact same thing. So I'm doing it on a laptop, but when we're talking about remote management, when we're talking about efficiency, being able to put an iPad in your hands or in the hands of your property manager and do all these same things. That's the same experience over there on an iPad.
And this is live data again.
Mm-hmm. So this particular property only has one floor, as you can see here. We'll show, when I go to the designer here, what it looks like when there's multiple floors. What else did I want to show for this? Some things that...
You can move in, take payments, move out, all of that from...
Yeah, all that, the idea is that all the actions that you could do from the tenant list and so on, or the space list, that you can do from the property map. Some things that we are looking to add in the future to this, if we're talking about the roadmap, is we want to have their picture ID from ID Verify showing up in here. So you can see who you're dealing with.
You're out on the site, you see a customer, you look at the space, and you want to make sure, oh yeah, that's Karan, you pull them up.
There's also filtering here. So if I just want to see, I just want to look at my parking spaces. So you can still see the rest of your map. It's just there, but it just keeps the parking spaces colored. So we can filter by space size, type, or our statuses.
Let the freaking attorneys figure it out. I agree with them.
So let's take a look at how to actually create this property map. And so for that, I'm actually just going to go into the sandbox here so we don't mess with Lexington's nice map, which they've already created. So if I go to this map here, I'm going to select and this is just a internal production sandbox we have, so it's loading up here. So we've got 4 floors set up here, and I need to go to the, map editor.
You guys might not have seen that happen so fast, but he went to our app store to pull that map editor out, where ultimately, like, if you wanted to opt into Veritech, they can participate right in there. We're trying to make it that simple to build in functionality into the software. We have several apps in there already. This is one.
This is the first one. So We want to make it really easy, and one of the things that Lance has been showing is making data available everywhere throughout the software. That's one of the goals that we have. So for the property map, it's more than just a picture. We know when you configure the spaces for your property with the sizes, the dimensions, and so on, we have all that. So to build your pretty picture, you're just going to drag in the properties that you haven't placed yet. You want to put things on an angle, you can move it around. You don't like it, you want to start again, delete it. So I can select the different floors. Now the cool thing here is you'll notice that when I go to floor 2, you can look, see that outline? It shows me the floor below. So I can line things up. So like I said, you just drag in your spaces. I think you get the idea there. You want to put in some objects. You want to place an office somewhere. Put that in there. You want a door? Do you want a gate? The basic things, this isn't really necessary. This is how pretty you want to make your picture, but... Can
you drag in a PDF from your phone line?
No, we do not have that today, unfortunately. Yeah.
That would be really nice.
Mm-hmm. You can do that with your fax machine. You can do that with your fax machine.
So that's really that's the property map. Some of our customers are using it, others aren't, and for those that aren't, I think you can see the value. It's really nice to have that visual overview with the color coding and being able to perform all the actions there. So that's the property map.
Do you guys do training on all this stuff? So if we have the technology, we can call a customer success manager or support to walk our team through this and train them on how to build reports, how to utilize all this technology.
Yeah, when we onboard you, we train you, and it's the system's getting more complicated, and we're looking at how we extend that training even more, because like some of the things we did today they're not easy. They really aren't. But once they're set up, they're actually really easy to manage. But some of these things aren't manager level setups. Some of the stuff we're looking at today. There's plenty that is, but.
Is the map capability going to be on the website ever?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what when we get to our talking about what's next. Yeah, we it's funny. We always looked at the map initially as its most powerful tool was in call it the good, better, best, right? Extending the value to the customer. Why? I've rethought that for the last few years. I think the map as a remote management tool actually is more powerful. But yes, we do want to extend it to the customer. But being able to show up to a site, know your checklist, what you've got to clean, what you've got to lock check, what you got to move out, auction, whatever it is, or to use the map as a data visualization, like if you invested in like a Power BI tool or something and wanted to data visualize, using the map for operational purposes may be more valuable to us, especially now with post-COVID and remote management.
Yep. And if I could just add, if and when you bring the map to the website for selling purposes, for offering to the customer, please make sure that you have the ability not to show all of your available units. Mm-hmm. If you have good, better, best, you might show up to 3 good, 3 better, 3 best, or maybe you only show 2 of them, right? Yeah. But if you show too much, you will paralyze the customer into non-action because they'll be overwhelmed. And even better, you don't even need to show them that, because implied scarcity will also cause them to, shall we say,
good advice,
rent a little bit more quickly. So just keep that in mind.
Okay.
You might even only show them 1 good and 2 better and 2 best, so that they know this is the unit they're going to get if they want that least expensive one.
Any questions on property maps?
So you don't have to type in any of the information. What's shown here, what I can drag in, is actually just the unplaced units that Hummingbird knows I haven't actually placed on my property map now. So you can see L1 goes in and it disappears. As I drag these in, floor 2 is done.
Yeah.
Correct. That you have actually
It
defined
gives you
in
the Lego
Hummingbird. Yeah.
kit.
It's really, it's more than just a picture. Yeah.
Can you drag, like, instead of, I want just one of these, you grab, I want 12 of these out there in a line at one time and snap that in?
So right now, I think the answer,
No.
you can't do that.
No.
It's really just you're manually placing them individually. Yeah.
This is our 1.0,
Yeah.
right, on maps. And you can see what it is, right? And if you take the time to set it up, it is actually nice.
Yeah, you can see that finished product there. It'd be definitely great to have some more tools there. But the other idea here is you only have to do this once, right? You're not moving your units around in your building.
Maybe you guys want to throw
So-
the microphone.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you've got the box right there. So see if it's on. Speaking, yeah.
Yeah.
Talk right into it.
Okay, so when you guys add more features and amenities to
There we go.
it, could we be notified so we can go ahead and add those to what we have?
Yes. So that's one of the areas that we've been really bad at, and we have now in our new PI planning process that is now baked into the cake so that feature releases are sent out to everybody. We've just been so head down building. We've done a very poor job keeping you all up to date as to what we're working on. Like a lot of this stuff you guys have never even probably seen or knew was in existence. But our new PI planning process that is, that's for a product or an application to be done, that's included in the done category, is that it's been rolled out to the trainers and to the customers, and it's there. So we'll do better there. Yeah. Uh-huh. And you can filter by or create. That first example had parking in it.
Yeah, so there was parking spaces. This is just this one I don't think has parking spaces defined in the unit list, so there's nothing for me to drag in.
Data visualizer.
Let's do data visualizer. All right. So Lance was talking about this. We're going to go just a little bit deeper, and we're going to be Lance at 6 a.m. after he gets off the rower, and we're gonna crank out a report here. So a lot of thought and effort has gone into Hummingbird to make it easy to visualize and conceptualize your data as it relates to your property and the processes. This data visualizer is really at the core of that.
And start with it. If you're going to tear it up, start on the active tenant.
Yeah. I'm not going to mess with your report. Don't worry.
Don't override my masterpiece.
So I think the best way to show you this is to really just go through an example here. So this is one that Lance gave me. He said, on the 15th of the month, you want a clean call list for making your delinquent calls. So let's build that list. We're going to build that list, we're going to build this report, and we're going to save this report. And we're going to start with our active tenants list here. So these are the default columns that we've got. Let's look at what we don't want to perform this task and things that we do want in here, and let's start making it happen. So if we're just going through this, we probably don't need the space number. We definitely need their name. We need their phone number. Might be good to know when they move in, their current rent. That's good to have. Space size, maybe. We don't need website category, the sell rate, and the status. We're gonna filter on that. So let's start fixing these columns. So coming in here, on the space, I'm going to remove the sell rate. We said we didn't want that, and we'll keep the space. We'll get rid of space size as well, and the space number we're going to get rid of as well. And we didn't want the website category. On the lease, created by ID, that's not really useful. One of the things we are going to add in here, though, is lifetime payments. So on this lease, what's the total amount of money they've paid us over time? If we're going, one of the ways we might want to look at this call list is let's deal with our historically most valuable customers first. Also, knowing how much that someone who's been with us for a very long time, we might approach that call differently than someone who is delinquent after the second month. If they've been paying you consistently for 2 years, the first time they're delinquent, Okay, there's maybe something wrong. Let's figure out what's going on there. Sorry? Days late. Okay, on the lease. Let's put that in there. All right, so let's set these columns. So we've got our data in here, and in the data visualizer, we can just start dragging stuff around. So, and filtering it. So tenant status, let's get people who are locked out, delinquent, in lien, auction. Let's set that filter. And now that I've got that, nice to know what their status is. Next thing I do is start calling them. Next thing I do is what's their name? Going to be talking on the phone here. How much do they owe me? Let's move that over here. Another neat thing is I can take a column and I can pin it. So this is actually a bad example here. I'd have to add some more columns. Let me just throw something in.
It's iPad compatible. You can do the same on iPad too.
Yeah. I'm just going to throw in just a couple quick columns so that I can show the pinning feature here. So because I pinned tenant status over here, if I've got more than can fit on my screen, I scroll and that stays. If I don't want that, no problem. I can unpin it. Okay? So you can just appreciate how quickly we're able to just throw one of these reports together using the tokens that Lance was talking about that come from our database. Dane's got his hand up.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but another powerful part of this is all the delinquent tenants in your portfolio to be unselecting the property and selecting more properties, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could look at multiple properties. You
Yeah.
could look at your whole portfolio or a region or a state or whatever, right? That's that upper,
That's a great
that
call,
upper
yeah.
bar. You have that capacity. It's another unique tool to this application.
Yes, if you want to centralize, your call to the strongest manager or your
Right.
call center or whatever, they could just be working on this.
And you'll see how when Justin saves this report, he can save it for the company or himself or save it to your collection manager. And then after that, he'll probably show you a way that he can send it every night or every week or whatever you want to the collection manager. So literally they get a link, text it or email or both,
Yeah.
and they fire it open and they've got their call list.
We're going to show that in a second here. Lance, stop stealing all my thunder
Sorry.
here. Okay, so we talked about this.
I told you I get excited about this crap.
We talked about the sorting here. So if we want to sort the data by how much money they owe us, we can do that. Just click of a mouse. We actually talked about how we want to approach our most valuable lifetime customers first. Okay, no problem. Let's sort using that. So we've put this together. We've created this view from our active tenants list. This is something that we want to save for next time. So we'll just hit the save button and we're going to save it. Now when I'm saving it, I can save it for just me if I'm just messing around, or all of the other staff in my company, or everyone. I can just select and say who I would like to make this available to. We'll put in delinquency report. And the other thing is, and if you find it useful, if next time I come into my tenants view, if this is what I want to be looking at every time, in this case, probably not, but I'm going to click it anyways.
Well, if you were a collection manager,
Yeah.
you would, right? If that was your job as a collection manager, you'd want that defaulted.
So now that this report is saved, you can see change here, it's in this list. So if I go and look at Lance's report, and I want to come back, where did I put that delinquency down here? Here's that report. Now, this is really helpful. I can look at this in here. Now, maybe I want to save this. I want to get it in Excel, or I want it in PDF. No problem. We click that button, and we can save it. So we can print it, save it on our computer. Maybe this is something that you want to get on your phone. You want to send it to staff in your company. We can do that as well. We can share that. We can also schedule that. So data being available in multiple places in Hummingbird is one of the key things we're talking about. So I can look at this report in my tenants view, but now that I've saved it, if I go to my reports list, it shows up in my custom reports dropdown. There it is. If this is something that I look at a lot, maybe I'll pin it, and now it shows up here. Just for me, it's in that report. So different people in your company, the reports that are created for them they can make it very easy to get to by pinning those reports. So let's talk about sharing the report here. And Lance said we can send out the management summary report for this. So let's look at what that is like. This is how easy it is to share this. So I could share it with folks in my company that we've already created roles. We've got their email addresses or their phones on file. We can also just share it off the cuff here. So what I'm actually going to do, so you can see what this looks like, is maybe a couple of you who are at tables around the room, give me your phone number, and I'm going to share this report with you right now. You're going to get a text on your phone, and you can see what the experience is actually like to get this report and see it on your phone. So somebody toss me their phone number. 307 9313. Okay. Anybody else want it? Anybody else want to see the report? See what it looks like? 925 730. Okay. So I'm just going to hit the share button. Let's listen for the ding of their phones in a second.
Now, also, what's good is that this shared report functionality actually had a different concept early on, and I think if you go into the reports, close that down and scroll all the way down on the reports.
So the reports tab all the way down.
Yeah, you see this thing called a banker's box and an investor report. Conceptually, there, what I wanted to do was create a tool so that if your bank requires your occupancy statistics and your management summary and your tenant rent roll, and they want it every 90 days, you come in here and create that file and set it to send them to it every 90 days, email, text, whatever they want. If you have investors that want to see your management summary report or whatever they may want, like we were just talking recently with somebody who says, hey, some of my operators want to see the rent increases. Create a report on your rent increases that are coming up next. File it, put it in this system, schedule it, and send it to them. You can also, if you go into that and you start scheduling reports to different people, there is a view of the scheduled reports. If you go back to you see right there, view scheduled reports. Yeah. There's all the reports that you have created schedules on to send to people. So you can manage that. Mm-hmm. Switch banks, lose an investor, gain an investor, whatever, right? So I think that's a pretty easy to use, cool tool, and you guys will get a link and you'll be able to open it and see it right on your mobile device or desktop or however you want to view it.
So you can see here there's a lot of pre-built reports in Hummingbird for a lot of the things that you need daily, weekly, and monthly. And then we've also shown how you can create your own custom reports. We can share them on the fly, and then like Lance was just talking about, for any of these, we can schedule repeat delivery. So it's exactly the same sharing interface that we just saw. We're just going to say, how often do we want this to go? End of day, end of month, end of quarter. We set up we give that a name for this particular schedule. And then we saw for this particular property, these are all of the different scheduled report jobs that currently run.
I did get it, by the way.
Perfect. Anything else you wanted to add to that, Lance? That was what I had for the report.
I think that covers it. Let's move on to the driest of all subjects, but the difficult. Yeah.
Is there a way to limit sharing per user so random employees can't
Do we have that in our permissive?
Yeah.
No. Okay. Within this PI planning, and you're going to hear PI planning a lot today and tomorrow, that's a 12-week window that already started, that the permissive tightening that is in there. Yeah. Yeah, you might not want your customer sending your rent roll off to your competitor. I don't know.
Plan similarly with the ability to make such fast and quick changes as far as audit integrity goes. Is this all restricted by permissions?
Yeah, but you're not breaking anything here, right? I would say the danger here is you're sending off information that you don't want to get sent off, but you're not breaking.
This isn't changing anything. This is just looking at data here, particularly.
Just drag a column over.
Sure.
All right. You see that reset button that just popped up? Reset it. Right. You haven't heard anything. You haven't heard the database. You haven't heard the application.
Going back to the session when you were setting up features and so forth, that kind of price changes.
That's permissive based, yeah, and you obviously want upper level permissions setting that stuff up.
So
because you could go in there and screw that up.
Sorry.
Space management. All the permissions are in space management.
Yeah.
You can see all those permissions here, like edit features and amenities, delete features and amenities.
Deleting spaces, right?
To the extent that you've given permission to that authority, is there some sort of notification kicked up a higher level so that if a unit is deleted, for example, somebody gets notified?
No, that's a good idea, but one of the things that's in the queue is a two-factor authentication on certain permissions, right? So it's not just enough that you gave somebody the permission; they have to two-factor authenticate, probably through their mobile device, so that it's not you left your computer opening and somebody sits down and goes. So that's in queue. That's another thing that's not out there. That we actually have two-factor authentication for our consumer side. We want to bring it into Hummingbird.
Sure, but from an oversight perspective, if you're a large company and you have a lot of admins, somebody goes rogue, how do you know?
So you have an visibility of the system in terms of from which system at what time a particular change was done. You do have that information, but not the notification thing that you did. But that's a good idea.
So we have something in the works right now. It's called an activity report, where all the activities performed by anyone in the system will be on that report. You can put that on schedule, and on everyday basis you can see who did what. So if somebody deletes a space or adds a space or whatever, at the end of the day you'll see all those activities in a report. It will also have a column which will be like critical activity or something like that, like a refund or deleting a space or adding a space. Those are like critical activities. So you can, if you want, you can just filter by that activity, and you can see that, okay, these are the things that are happening. That's part of our first PI. We'll be delivering that like somewhere middle of April. Like who is applying it, or?
Yeah, that's in the PI right now. We're calling that an audit trail. Right? There's been several requests for that.
Yeah. So Justin, maybe can you go to like a tenant?
Okay.
Like I just want to show a little demo of it.
Just any random tenant?
Yeah, any. Actually, not store local Reno, some other environment.
Oh, okay. Is Lexington okay, or do you want me to go?
Yeah,
to
Lexington
box?
should be fine.
Okay.
Yes. Go to tenant and open like any tenant. Go to transaction history and open any payment, preferably a card payment.
Card payment?
Yeah.
There's a MasterCard.
Yeah. So you see that accepted by and transaction ID right below the amount. So this was an auto pay, so that's why accepted by is auto pay. But it will show who accepted it. And similarly, if somebody voids an invoice, creates an invoice, refunds a payment, all those details will be available in the modal as well as the report that I was talking about. So you can like basically see who is doing what in the system. It's kind of like an activity log.
Great.
Great job, Justin. Thank you. One more question, and we'll take a quick break.
Is that a trigger that we would have to activate to show that for us right now?
No.
No.
Yes, for store local, Reno, and national, we will be pushing those changes for you too soon.
Yeah,
Got
but that feature, that's not a custom feature for store local Reno.
No,
the
it's for everyone.
auditability functionality will be across the platform. Yeah. Okay. Let's take a break, and then we'll jump back in with accounting. So to have some caffeine.
So Karan is going to talk about accounting export. This has been a big lift for us, and it's going to show us where we're at today, and then maybe tell us what's next. So go ahead, Karan.
Sure. Thank you, Lance. So accounting in Hummingbird, it gives you like a certain level of freedom which you might not get anywhere. So basically, it's a lot of work in the beginning where, again, just like features and amenities, you have to do the right configuration, you have to set a lot of things up. But once you do that, then based on the business rules that you define there, you can get your export in a lot of different ways. So you go to settings, you go to accounting. In the setup, first thing it asks you like, which type of bookkeeping do you do? Is it like a cash book, double book, or an accrual book? And based on your selection, it will customize the other sections. Like for example, the chart of accounts. I selected cash book, and based on that, it will give the default set of accounts that one usually uses for cash book. You have to just go in there and put your GL codes there. If you have any more than this, you can always add an account, or you don't want to go through adding each and every accounts one by one. You just download this spreadsheet template, you add all your GL accounts there, and you can just upload them. And it will add all of them over here. It will put you in this particular screen where you can see all the accounts that are added. It's a bulk editing screen, like it's very powerful. Like you can change a lot of stuff at the same time. Click save, and you're good to go. There were no updates, so it won't let me save. But maybe I can make an update. Let's say instead of this Amax, I want to do a Discover here, and I'll change this to Discover, and save. It also gives you a warning just in case, like, you're doing this like in mid-cycle or something, like you're doing after you started accounting for a lot of stuff, and then you're changing a GL code, like it affects your accounting. That's why there are warnings at every step over here. Once you do your chart of accounts, then this is something which is like very unique. Like it lets you define your own journal templates. Like these are the different events that happens. This is a cash book journal, so it will show you the events that happen in a cash book. If it's a double book, then it will also show you accrual book journal where a few more events happen like bad debt or accounts receivable and things like those. So it will allow you to do those as well. And now, again, like I said, it gives you a lot of freedom. So if you want to just record certain things, or if you do your accounting in a very specific style, you select those events, you add those details over here. The ones you don't want to account for, you just leave them blank. And it won't account for those. It will still be recorded in your reports. You can still go and get it in your reports, but it's based on the way you have set up your accounting software. That's QuickBooks, Yardi, whichever one you are using. It also has a very unique feature of adding overrides. Like, for example, whenever a refund happens, you may want to treat your insurance a little bit different than your other products. So what you can do is that you can go over here. Maybe it's in the debit. You can add an override that for my insurance, don't send it to like my invoice lines account. I want to send it to, or you can do it for all of your insurance or any one of them. Send it to some other account. Like maybe send it to, I don't have any account to show, but like maybe storage rent account, for example. You can do that. It gives you the freedom to
add overrides as well, if and when you wish it. And then there are some additional settings. So these are certain these are like certain traditions or like certain practices that people follow that it's very specific to certain accounting types. Like these are all three are related to Yardi. That if you want to record your cash book revenue in both your books, or if you want to change the reference in your Yardi export to from a transaction type to what is the source of the accounting export, you can do that. And transaction number format. So you can do a unique transaction number format where each and every file that you generate, it will have a unique transaction number for each and every transaction. Or if you just want to be like, I always want to see my transaction numbers starting from 1. It allows you to do that. Like you go over here, instead of unique for each transaction, you can change it to new sequence for new export starting from 1. So it allows you to do all these things. Once you have set all these things up, you can go to Tools, Accounting Export, and either you can generate an export right now if you want to, you can select the range. It has some predefined ranges, plus you can select a range, like a custom range if you would like to. You can go for any of these export types. That is a general ledger PDF. It's just a PDF that you can see and see your accounts balanced, or you can if you're using any of these softwares, you can download those exports, and all you have to do is that upload them in your export, and it will automatically recognize your accounts. Like there's a QuickBooks Online, QuickBooks Desktop, Yardi, Sage Intacct. And apart from that, we have some other reports which are like useful for accountants, like an accountant summary. You just want to see summarized data of your, okay, my which account is getting balanced, how. So you can see that in accountant summary. Then there is a transaction details report. This report is like very powerful. Like it can actually show you how each and every transaction happened and which accounts were debited, credited, and for which product, for which invoice, for which payment. And for certain things, it also shows you who did it. Like, was it done by an auto pay? Was it done by a manager at your site, or it happened through website? All those details. And balance sheet is basically, you just want to see your balance sheet, like you download it and you can just see that what is my running total for all my GL accounts. It's from the beginning of when you go live on Hummingbird till when you generate it. There are 2 more reports which we will be adding soon, which is a transactional journal and transaction that is in CSV and PDF. They are basically a consolidated or a summarized report of transaction details report. Once you select your export type, you can, based on different types, like let's say I want to go for Yardi, you can select a summarized export or a detailed export. If you want to drill line by line, then you would go for a detailed export, or else you can go for just a summarized export where it does it by date. You can select the properties where you want to do it. It's not limited to like one property at a time. You can select as many as you want, or you can select all. And then you can like choose to, this has a lot of properties. You can choose to like email it to yourself. Like if you are one of the admins, you can just go in and select your name, or you can type in your email address, and you can click export, and like it will generate it for you immediately. One other thing related to accounting that we offer right now is that if you do have an account on our developer portal, then you can access this data for your property directly through an API. We have the Get Accounting Exports API, where we will give you certain credentials and certain access keys. You use those keys, you add your company IDs, property IDs, you provide start date and end date, and it will give you your export in a JSON format, which you can, if you have your own built-in applications, or if you're using it for any type of analysis or anything, you can just use that data directly. Those are like our current capabilities of accounting. As a part of First PI, we are coming up with property-specific accounting. I believe like a lot of operators use property-specific accounting, where like you're using one type of accounting at your one property, and you're using a different type of accounting at your different accounting, or it could be as simple as you're recording it in 2 different GL accounts, the same type of income or same type of assets. Then that would allow you to do that. So that's actually it for what's coming next. Yeah, that's coming next. One more thing that I would say that is also up and coming product as part of PI1 is Tenant Warehouse. In the Tenant Warehouse, what we are going to deliver is that all your data that is getting stored in Hummingbird, it will be available in a user-friendly format in a warehouse, which you can get access to, and you can link it to your own BI tool. You can choose anyone that you like, Power BI, Click, Tableau, any of those. It will be an overnight export every night. It will give you your data, and if you have your built-in reports, it will automatically update those. And you are like left at your own creativity after that. Like you have all the data, you wanna do whatever you want with it. You wanna create metrics like number of merchandise sold per lease or something like that. You can create that. You wanna create your own KPIs for measuring your business. You can do that. And based on the power of the BI, you can also create your own charts and graphs and everything to measure your performance across any level that you want. Like you'll have access to all your data.
So Karan, you want to touch up on accounting support for options as well? What's coming up for this year?
So yes. So for options, Hummingbird also provides an ability to perform options. And there are certain things that happen in an like if you're using a third-party option agency, then there are certain things that happen that they are going to charge you like some fees, or they are going to charge the person who bidder certain fees, and all those things you will be able to handle all those things inside Hummingbird as well, where you can select like buyer's premium or I forgot the name of the fee that they charge you, but like all those things. Yeah, cleaning deposit, all those things, it will be configurable in Hummingbird. You can do it, and based on the settings that you make there, we can configure the accounting for that as well for you. So that's part of first PI. We are planning to deliver it somewhere in like middle of April. That's support for options. It's also going to give you a higher freedom on options as well. Like I said, you can add things like buyer's premium and generate any notices if there are overages or like if there is deficiency in options, all those capabilities.
Thank you, Karan. So technology is just a war of people. That's all it is. And you can see that you've got a great team at Tenant, right? These are really quality team members and people, and you guys are, thank you, you're doing a great job. So without the right team behind these products, there's no chance.